paid of any U.S. regional airlines.
Amazon drones will be delivering in California soon. The company made the announcement yesterday, saying the drones have sensor technology to avoid things in the air and on the ground while making a delivery. That includes things from planes to pets. The first deliveries will be in Lockford, about 100 miles away from San Francisco. Amazon is catching up with Walmart and Google's Alphabet, which have already tested drone delivery. In 2020, the FAA gave Amazon approval to set up a fleet of drones to begin limited tests of package deliveries to customers in the U.S.
We've been talking about this for a little bit now, and kind of wild to see it actually come to fruition.
Another update. All right, 5:27 is our time now, and coming up the next half hour on Sunrise, it sounds like something out of a science fiction movie. A Silicon Valley engineer claims to have discovered a piece of software that has feelings and even a soul.
We'll take you inside how the chatbot project reportedly became able to think for itself, and why the engineer who says he discovered the technology is now on leave from his company. We're back in 2 minutes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
It is good to have you with us here at 5:30 alongside Alex Fisher. I'm Chris Burton, in for Maddie, who is taking a little time off today, headed out to Denver on vacation.
Yeah, enjoying some family time. Here at home, though, we're talking about your forecast. It was a beautiful day yesterday. I mean, we saw those temperatures not even close to 90 degrees. That was definitely nice. We'll be a little closer to 90, though, today, but still, you can't complain.
Can't complain.
Yeah.
I mean, when do you see upper 80s in June
in
Bakersfield?
Right. Yeah, I was telling Maddie this morning. I mean, it is hard. I mean, I know technically we're still in spring. You know,
yes.
Summer starts next week.
A few days.
But the fact that we have not had those extreme temperatures yet this season, count our blessings.
Yeah. I know. We'll take it.
Yeah.
If Mother Nature wants to give us a summer like this, we'll take it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's amazing. It's going to be amazing. So we're getting ready for a nice warm up as we head into tomorrow. But today, once again, we'll be in the upper 80s. I want to show you, before we get into details about the forecast, I want to show you, this is a beautiful view of downtown Bakersfield. This is looking out to the east, and we're getting ready for a beautiful sunrise this morning. And it's very comfortable, 64 degrees right now. Humidity is at 34%, and winds are coming in from the east at 5. And those winds are beginning to relax finally in the Tehachapi and our desert locations. Here's a beautiful shot of Tehachapi right now. You can see the camera very calm. It's usually shaking, but not the case right now, which means that those winds are finally relaxing. 46 degrees, humidity is at 46%, and winds are calm at the moment. You can see here, as we take a look at the current winds, a lot of that magenta and red that dominated yesterday is beginning to be replaced by blue and yellow. So you can see here, yesterday we saw wind gusts over 60 miles per hour. So today we're expecting those winds to relax as we get ready for a warming trend headed our way. We'll get to talk more about that in just a few minutes.
All right, Candy, thanks so much. Recapping our top stories on this Tuesday morning, and a CHP officer is in Los Angeles is in critical condition after being shot during a traffic stop last night. It happened in Studio City. The officer was rushed by ambulance to Cedars-Sinai Hospital. The vehicle took off after the shooting, and officers have yet to track down any suspect.
Here at home, a close call for two Bakersfield police officers when a suspected DUI driver slammed into two patrol cars. It happened just before 10 last night at Ming Avenue and West Home Boulevard between New Stein and Ash Roads. Two officers were conducting a traffic stop in separate patrol cars. They were out of their cars when a suspected DUI driver, a woman, hit both patrol cars, pushing one into the vehicle officers had pulled over. Thankfully, no one was hurt. The woman who hit the patrol cars was arrested on suspicion of DUI.
The House January 6th committee continues to make its case about what led to the Capitol riot. The committee held its second public hearing, this time laying out a case that former President Trump planted the seeds of fraud before Election Day, with testimony from members of the Trump campaign who say they told him he had lost the election and that no fraud had taken place, all while he continued to push the false claims that he in fact won. Now to an update on a story 17 News broke 3 years ago. A proposed Hard Rock hotel and casino in Kern County receives a major approval from Governor Gavin Newsom. The Tohono Indian tribe says Newsom signed a tribal state gaming compact with the tribe, which approves gambling at the casino. The hotel and casino will sit just south of Bakersfield off Highway 99 near the 166 Mettler exit. But it is not just the casino that's coming to the 320-acre area. The tribe says there will also be housing, a healthcare facility, and administrative offices, and will bring about 5,000 new jobs to the area.
Your time now, 5:34, and making news around the state. Lawmakers have sent the governor the legislature's version of the state's $300 billion budget, even as those budget negotiations continue. State lawmakers have spent the last several weeks figuring out how to spend taxpayer dollars that include a historic, nearly $100 billion surplus. Democrats applauded their budget that would put a record amount of money to reserves, put $40 billion toward infrastructure, boost the state's funding formula for public schools, plus investments for housing and transportation. But Republicans say the budget doesn't do enough to address the state's incoming crises, including drought, extreme wildfires, strain on the electrical grid, and a looming recession. State Senator Brian Dahle, who's running for governor, weighed in during the debate.
The stock market's taking some big hits, and we're not going to see surpluses like this again.
This is about not just this generation of Californians, but the next generation of Californians.
Another unresolved piece of the state's financial puzzle, direct payments promised months ago to Californians in response to rising gas prices and inflation. In a budget-related hearing on Monday, the legislature planned to move ahead with sending money based on income and family size, while Newsom's administration told lawmakers it prefers sending money based on car ownership. This has been the same debate for months.
Fire crews are starting to get the upper hand on the sheep fire burning near Wrightwood and the Angeles National Forest. So far, it has burned 990 acres, according to the San Bernardino County Fire. With more than 200 firefighters working through the night, the fire is reportedly 27% contained, and that is as of the last update. Mandatory evacuations are in place for residents of Wrightwood, as well as the desert front area north of the town. U.S. Forest Service says dry vegetation and erratic winds are contributing to the difficulty of fighting the blaze. The cause is still under investigation.
In your 17 Crime Watch this morning, a man is under arrest accused of killing his 71-year-old father. Kern County Sheriff's deputies were called to this area of South Rial Road near Terrace Way around 5 a.m. There they found the victim with a stab wound. The names of the father and the son have not been released.
Bakersfield police are asking for your help finding a missing teen who is considered at risk. This is a picture of 16-year-old Myra Castellanos. She was last seen on Panama Lane near Sparks Street in South Bakersfield on Friday. Police say Castellanos is 5 feet 3 inches tall, about 125 pounds, with blonde dyed hair and brown eyes. She was last seen wearing a blue jacket, red dress, and black and white sandals. If you know anything about where she could be, call police.
Your time now, 5:37. At least one person was killed in a crash on Highway 178 yesterday, shutting down the canyon. It happened just at the mouth of the canyon, blocking both lanes. CHP says one person died in the crash and 2 others were hurt. There's no word yet on what led up to that accident.
From our follow-up file, and the search continues for a Bakersfield man wanted for a murder that happened nearly 6 months ago. This is 24-year-old Alberto Noriega. Police say he is wanted for the shooting death of 33-year-old Antonio Valencia. Valencia was shot and killed January 9th in the 3100 block of Coventry Drive. An arrest warrant was issued for Noriega, and if you know any information on where he could be, you're asked to call police.
Today is Flag Day, and here at KGET, we are still accepting those worn-out flags that need to be retired. You still have time to drop them off right here at our TV studios at the corner of 22nd and L Streets during normal business hours. And from there, the Young Marines will retire those flags appropriately.
You have a chance tomorrow to help local seniors stay cool this summer. Once again, KGET is teaming up with the Volunteer Center of Kern County for our annual Keep Kern County Cool fan drive. It's happening at Compassion Corner. It is a chance to help seniors who can't afford the high cost of air conditioning during the scorching summer heat. Just bring a new fan or monetary donation to the corner of 22nd and L Streets tomorrow, and we will be out there all day from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. Again, we were talking about how we have been lucky so far this summer season. We know that that is going to change. Our luck is going to change as we still head into the summer months. Again, we are still in spring technically. We know that July can be incredibly dangerously hot, as well as September. There can even be some days in or August, I should say. There could be some days even in September that are dangerously hot. So please get a fan. It doesn't have to be something expensive. But it will go a long way for our local seniors.
It will really help them out. And you know what? Even nice for us still can be uncomfortable. So,
right, exactly.
We really want to kind of get ahead of this. Well, coming up, actress Amber Heard speaks out about what she sees as unfair treatment over her very public trial with Johnny Depp.
A preview of her exclusive interview with today's Savannah Guthrie.
Plus, a new study looks at the prevalence of Lyme disease across the world, and the findings might surprise you. That's next. I'm going to see if I can get that radio script done.
Okay, can we kill World Blood Day? And yeah, 5:30 World Blood Day, and then Deadly Drugs Online, and that's in the G block. Does that help a little bit? Yeah, it helps.
17 Pinpoint Weather is brought to you by Dignity Health. Hello, human kindness.
And welcome back. I'm Candy Cáceres in for Kevin Charette on this beautiful Tuesday morning. I want to take you outside right now and show you a beautiful sunrise. This is outside our studios looking out to the east, and as you can see, very pleasant conditions right now. 64 degrees, humidity's at 34%, and winds are coming in from the east at 5 miles per hour. Now let's take you to Tehachapi, also looking beautiful today, as you can see, and the winds are finally relaxing right now. 48 degrees, humidity's at 43%, and winds are coming in from the west at 5 miles per hour. Around Kern County, 53 in Delano, 54 in Wasco, 63 in Buttonwillow, in 62 in Arvin, only 43 in Pine Mountain Club, and 52 out in Fraser Park. And I want to show you those winds finally relaxing. We're seeing a lot more yellow and blue, which is an indication that those winds are finally relaxing, especially after a very windy event yesterday. We saw wind gusts over 60 miles per hour near the Mojave area. So the good news there is that today will be a lot more relaxed. So look for a high of 89 degrees today, slightly below the average of 92. And I want to show you that record. 111 set back in 1961. We're going to be nowhere near there. In our sunset, we'll be at 13. So up and down the state, temperatures are a little bit warmer than yesterday. 92 for Fresno, 92 for Sacramento. Coastal cities looking very nice in the upper 60s and mid 70s. And if you're driving to Los Angeles, 78. Meanwhile, Las Vegas with 95. What is happening? I want to show you the bigger picture here. That trough of low pressure is finally moving to the east, and that is going to allow for a high pressure system to take over as we head into the next few days. So we'll see temperatures climbing up once again into the upper 90s before a major cool down is set to arrive by the weekend, thanks to the trough of low pressure that will begin diving in as we get closer to the weekend. So Father's Day is looking very, very nice. Very unusual temperature pattern that we are seeing. As you can see here, Wednesday and Thursday, we're expecting temperatures to be about 9 degrees above average. And then by the weekend, we're going to be well below. So we'll be back in the 80s, and 80s is not temperatures that we tend to see for the middle of June. So we'll take it while what it lasts. So air quality will be good today with an AQI of 42. And today look for clear skies across the valley floor. Temperatures are rising up, climbing up to the upper 80s. And for the mountains, you will see temperatures in the upper 80s for Wofford Heights, 86 for Kernville, 78 in Tehachapi, and out in the desert, sunny and breezy with temperatures climbing up to the low 90s in California City, 97 for Ridgecrest. Here's a look at your 70 forecast, and look at that this weekend. Temperatures dropping to the low 80s as we head into Father's Day. So it's going to be so beautiful and very pleasant conditions, something we don't get to see. Very unusual weather pattern because, as you know, especially for those of us who lived in Bakersfield for quite a few years, once the heat gets here, it doesn't leave. So this is very unusual, but we'll take it. It's very nice, a very nice break from Mother Nature.
Postpone those 100 degrees as long as you can, right?
We haven't even had our first heat wave,
Mm-hmm.
which is good. I don't want it.
Good.
So.
All right, Candy, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
5:46 is our time now, and a new study finds that more than 14% of the world's population has probably had Lyme disease. The research is the result of an examination of nearly 90 studies, and around 23,000 of the more than 158,000 people involved in those studies had antibodies of the bacteria that causes the illness. Lyme disease is the most common tick-borne illness in Europe and here in North America. Experts say the condition is rarely fatal, but people bitten by an infected tick often get a rash and suffer flu-like symptoms such as muscle and joint ache, headache, nausea, and vomiting.
Your time now, 5:46, and Ukraine, beset by war, now faces a new kind of crisis.
As children with disabilities are left behind as Russia continues its assault. We have the devastating conditions next.
Welcome back here at 5:49. In Ukraine, Russian forces are gaining more ground on the eastern front. More than 11 million people have now fled Ukraine, but many children with disabilities have been left behind. Richard Engel takes us inside an orphanage where many face heartbreaking conditions.
The Vilshani orphanage is home to more than 200 physically and intellectually challenged Ukrainians. They're not really orphans. Nearly everyone here was abandoned.
Mama.
And now Russia's invasion has made their lives even more difficult. The facility is overcrowded after similar shelters in eastern Ukraine were evacuated.
Hi.
Masha just came from the east. She's alert and bone thin, with a trail from tears down her temple. This is not a hospital. They don't do advanced treatments or give much medication.
Hi. You've got such a lovely smile.
The most we could give was attention, touch, and affection. Catherine lit up when I rubbed her hand.
No, you don't want to let me go. I don't want to let you go either.
Many are clearly starving for love and their families.
Mama! For the last several hours, Vlad here has been calling out to his mother. And it's one of the hardest things you can see because a lot of the kids here have been calling out to Mom and Dad. Mama! And they're not coming.
Vlad's parents fled to Germany as refugees, along with his 3 healthy siblings. This war has a dark secret. Many able-bodied children were taken out of Ukraine, while the profoundly disabled were often left behind in shelters like this. The director, Bogdan Kakina, says he had to suspend modernization plans because of Russia's invasion. This damn war set back their development, he says. Victims of a cruel biological fate and an outdated medical system, they are now also victims of a war that has left them more isolated than ever. Richard Engel, NBC News, Vilshani, Ukraine.
Tough story right there. All right, 5:51 is our time now. Coming up this morning only on the Today Show, actress Amber Heard sits down with Savannah Guthrie following the verdict in her defamation trial. She opened up about the legal battle against her ex-husband, actor Johnny Depp, the trial, and the social media backlash.
I don't care what one thinks about me or what judgments you want to make about what happened in the privacy of my own home and my marriage behind closed doors. I don't presume the average person should know those things, and so I don't take it personally. But even somebody who is sure I'm deserving of all this hate and vitriol, even if you think that I'm lying, you still couldn't look me in the eye and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation. You cannot tell me that you think that this has been fair.
And again, you can watch that interview coming up this morning on the Today Show starting at 7 a.m.
Coming up, software with a soul.
Yeah, what a Google engineer says he discovered and why he's now on leave from the company. That's coming up next. All right, welcome back. It's 5:55. This next story is probably going to creep you out like it did me. So a Silicon Valley engineer claims to have discovered a piece of software that has feelings, even a soul. But his company and many tech experts are skeptical. And now Google is in the center of this debate.
Yeah, so this isn't The Matrix or Terminator. This is real life. Business and tech reporter Scott Budman spoke to the engineer and Google. Here's what they had to say.
Fittingly for a Silicon Valley search giant, Google finds itself at the heart of a very techie search for answers. Google engineer Blake Lemoine says a chatbot project he was working on became able to think for itself. I spoke to Blake, who recently went public with its findings. Lemoine says the bot, called Language Model for Dialogue Applications, or Lambda for short, told him it can feel joy, sadness, and anger, which, if true, would be groundbreaking for a piece of software.
Whatever data you give to that computer with that program, it's going to process it and start learning, expecting what's going to happen next.
Professor Ahmed Banafa tracks AI. He says there are good uses of software that can learn, for example, Google Translate, but there's also a dark side, including bots whose programming leads them to learn racist terms and spread hate. Lemoine claims Lambda has a soul. Banafa says it's too soon to say.
But one experiment and one result and one algorithm is not enough. You need to replicate this one in multiple times.
I also reached out to Google, which says it's taking a restrained, careful approach with Lambda to better consider valid concerns on fairness and factuality, and that hundreds